Tom Ozanich, you have one of the biggest movies of the year, Sully, that you did the sound work on. Talk to us about that. What was the challenge that you faced making this film?
So I was sound designer and one of the re-recording mixers.
Okay.
So our biggest challenge in the creation process of coming up with sounds and everything, I think, obviously we're telling a story about a plane crash or water landing, as they point out. And, your expectation would be that this is a terrifying, panicked thing, but you have two guys who sit in the cockpit going, okay, we're probably going to die, we got to do this. And they're completely calm the whole time because that's their job, to be calm. So we had to figure out how to put in the excitement, put in the, sort of threat of what was going on. We talked to Sully himself about it, asked him questions about what kinds of sounds he was hearing at the time and, what his experience was. So we went, a lot of it was based on what he told us. We did a lot of research looking at interviews with people and passengers, things they were describing of what they were hearing and experiencing. Some of the people basically didn't know what was happening because it was kind of more calm than you would expect. And then, the other big problem really is you have this giant jet and it's broken, right? So it's basically not making jet sounds, which, it's always a hard thing from a sound standpoint to sell the idea of a thing that we all have this very iconic, connection to a sound for that thing, and that's the one thing you can't use, and so, some of the shots, like where you see the jet going by and, say, crossing over the bridge or whatever, just flying over us, one of the tricks was to try to sell the weight and the movement and, here's this jet going by. And it's all very reality-based, right? There's not moments where we're, kind of muted out and not hearing things in a sort of real way, even though not necessarily all of the sounds were real. But we had to make you feel like you were on the plane and feel like the weight, a real plane, which is completely, when it's flying anyways, completely a computer-generated effect, become real. And part of that is a good visual effect, and another big part of that is good sound support that makes it feel like it's actually there and it's actually vibrating or it's, careening through the air. So, and the, plane going down happens multiple times in the film, so that also has to be treated uniquely so that it stays interesting and because probably most of the people already know the story or at least the basics of the story before even going to the movie, and then we're going to tell them the same thing over and over, so trying to make it feel real, exciting, and not hammer you with big things, because a lot of the people, like I said, they're shots of passengers sitting there who don't really know what's happening and like, should we be freaking out?
I'm surprised this movie made a dime. Movies about flight disasters have been notoriously bad performers at the box office, like Flight with Denzel Washington for Paramount, or even the movie with the greatest title ever made, period, Snakes on a Plane, was considered a bomb. And so when this movie was coming out, it's like, all right, it's about a heroic character, and America is looking for heroes now, but this is still a big gamble, even with Tom Hanks. But you pulled it off, and not only pulled it off, but it did very well with critics and fantastic with audiences and defied the odds. This movie took a lot of guts to make.
Yeah, well,
And especially with these limitations you're talking about, like you're not allowed to use a lot of sounds that are not going to seem normal in that situation, and you have to generate fear, but hope, and all of these things simultaneously.
Yeah, and there's very little music in the film. Almost, I think there's only one case where there's music when we're on the plane or on the water or whatever. So, that's all sound effects based.
You've done good. You pulled it off.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.